From my blood come the prince that was promised, and his will be the song of ice and fire.
The secret father of fire, the Silver Prince, was already dead when his son was born. On the red banks of the Trident, Rhaegar Targaryen fell beneath Robert Baratheon's warhammer, rubies scattering into the river like drops of blood. 15 years later, his legacy rose again, in the north, under a different name. Jon Snow. That's the fact. Jon Snow is Rhaegar's son. But here's the question that still burns. Was Rhaegar the hero who saved the world, or the fool who destroyed it? Because Rhaegar didn't just die in battle, he ignited one. He shattered a dynasty that had ruled Westeros for 3 centuries. He broke his wife's heart, stole another man's bride, and set fire to the realm in pursuit of a dream he barely understood. And yet, everything that followed, from Robert's rebellion to the wars beyond the wall, all of it began with him. When Rhaegar crowned Lyanna Stark the Queen of Love and Beauty, he didn't just choose a woman, he chose prophecy over peace, destiny over duty, and in doing so, he may have created the one life that could save them all, the man who started a war and the father of the child who might end it. So, who was Rhaegar Targaryen? A prince, a prophet, or a madman chasing music only he could hear? Let's begin with the moment that changed everything. The day the Silver Prince gave a crown of blue roses to a wolf. The prince who loved too much. The great Tourney at Harrenhal was supposed to be a celebration. Knights, banners, and songs beneath the melted towers of a cursed castle. But for one man, it became the first note in a song that would destroy a dynasty. Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, heir to the Iron Throne, beloved by the people, admired by lords, and adored by maidens, rode that day in silver armor, polished so bright it caught the sun. He won every tilt, unhorsing the greatest knights in Westeros until he claimed victory before a roaring crowd. Then came the crowning. In front of half the realm, Rhaegar rode past his wife, Elia Martell of Dawn, and placed a garland of blue winter roses in the lap of another woman, Lyanna Stark, betrothed to Robert Baratheon. The crowd fell silent, then murmured, then gasped. It was a gesture of love, or madness, or both. In that instant, Rhaegar insulted his wife's proud Dornish kin, humiliated Robert, and shocked the North. Yet his eyes never wavered. Whatever he saw in Lyanna, destiny, prophecy, or simple beauty, it was enough to change everything. Months later, Lyanna disappeared. Some said she was kidnapped. Others whispered she went willingly. But either way, a prince and a wolf vanished, and the kingdoms erupted in war. Robert raised his banners. Ned Stark marched south. The Mad King demanded their heads. And Rhaegar, the Silver Prince who once sang to crowds with harp in hand, became the symbol of a rebellion. The man whose heart started the bloodiest war in modern Westerosi history. All for love, or for something far more dangerous than love. The Kingdom of Madness. By the time Rhaegar placed those blue roses in Lyanna's lap, the Targaryen crown was already cracking. His father, King Aerys II of his name, was now known only as the Mad King, a ruler devoured by paranoia, obsessed with fire, and haunted by whispers of betrayal. He saw enemies in every shadow, lords plotting his downfall, servants poisoning his food, even his own son conspiring for the throne. And in truth, Aerys was not entirely wrong. The realm was tired of his cruelty. The great houses, Stark, Arryn, Baratheon, Tully, whispered of alliance. Even Tywin Lannister, once Aerys's loyal hand, dreamed of replacing him with Rhaegar, the prince everyone loved. But Rhaegar was not content to wait for the crown to fall. At the Tourney of Harrenhal, he quietly gathered allies, testing loyalties, plotting a peaceful coup to remove his father and restore sanity to the realm. It could have worked. It might have saved thousands of lives. Then came Lyanna. With one act, a garland of roses, a look that lingered too long, Rhaegar turned potential allies into bitter enemies. The Starks, the Martells, the Baratheons, all 3 houses he needed most now despised him. When Lyanna vanished, their outrage ignited rebellion. When the Starks came to demand justice, Aerys burned them alive, and when Aerys called for Robert's and Ned's heads, the kingdom followed their banners instead. Rhaegar's dream of peace drowned in blood. The prince who could have replaced a tyrant became the reason that tyrant burned the world. The Targaryen dynasty had survived dragons, rebellions, and prophecy, but it could not survive itself, the birth of a shadow. Long before the blue roses and the war, before love or prophecy or ruin, there was fire. The palace of Summerhall was meant to be a place of joy, a retreat for the Targaryens, far from the Iron Throne. But in the final days of King Aegon V, it became something else, a pyre for a dream. Aegon believed he could hatch dragons from stone, as his ancestors once did. He gathered his family, his court, and his unborn great-grandson. He brought 7 eggs and the wildfire to wake them. The fire he lit burned too bright. The palace fell to ash, and amidst the smoke and screams, Rhaegar Targaryen gave birth to a child. That child was Rhaegar. He was born in grief, and that shadow never left him. From his earliest days, Rhaegar carried the weight of prophecy, a destiny whispered in firelight, the story of the prince that was promised, a hero reborn to face the darkness. The Targaryens had always believed in such visions. Their ancestor Daenerys the Dreamer foresaw the doom of Valyria and saved her bloodline. Dreams had built their empire. Now they ruled Rhaegar's heart. He was a prince of contradictions, beautiful and sad, brilliant and haunted. He read histories instead of playing with swords, sang songs of heroes long dead, and walked through the ruins of Summerhall as though searching for ghosts. Those who saw him smiled at his grace. Those who knew him whispered of a quiet sorrow behind his silver eyes. He was born from fire, but his life, from the first breath, belonged to shadow, and shadow was where prophecy waited. The prince that was promised. As a boy, Rhaegar Targaryen preferred scrolls to swords. He would wander the halls of Dragonstone, pale and quiet, a prince lost among dusty prophecies. Then, one morning, the servants found him sitting by the window, reading. His expression was still, and when he stood, he said only, "It seems I must be a warrior." That was the day he read about Azor Ahai, the hero who would be reborn to fight the darkness with a sword of fire. From that moment, Rhaegar trained like a man possessed. He learned the harp and the blade, music and blood, wisdom and war, as if every skill was a step toward some invisible crown. Even his great-uncle Maester Aemon believed he might be the prince that was promised. Rhaegar had been born amidst smoke and salt, fire from the tragedy of Summerhall, salt from the tears of those who died there. But as Rhaegar grew older, his certainty began to shift. Perhaps, he thought, the prophecy wasn't about him at all. Perhaps it was about his son. When his wife Elia Martell gave birth to Aegon, Rhaegar whispered over the cradle, "He is the prince that was promised, and his is the song of ice and fire." Yet, even then, Rhaegar felt something missing. The prophecy spoke of 3 heads of the dragon. Aegon was 1, his sister Rhaenys was 2, but there had to be a 3rd. And so, the prince who had spent his life chasing prophecy began to chase it again, not in books or battlefields, but in blood. Because to Rhaegar, destiny was no longer a story to believe in, it was a family to create. The Song of Ice and Fire. When Rhaegar first saw Lyanna Stark, it wasn't just beauty that caught his eye, it was meaning. The Silver Prince and the Wolf Maid, fire and ice, prophecy and possibility. By then, Rhaegar's wife, Elia Martell, was frail, unable to bear another child, but the prophecy still echoed in his mind. The dragon has 3 heads. He had Aegon, he had Rhaenys. He needed one more, and so, whether driven by love, fate, or madness, Rhaegar turned from the wife who adored him to the northern girl who symbolized his salvation. At the Tourney of Harrenhal, he crowned Lyanna with blue roses, a silent declaration that would shake the realm. Not long after, the two vanished together. Some said he kidnapped her, others said she ran to him willingly. Whatever the truth, They ended up in a lonely tower in Dawn, the Tower of Joy. There, Rhaegar called her his queen, and Lyanna bore his child. That child was Jon Snow, a son of the wolf and the dragon, the living song of ice and fire. But while Rhaegar and Lyanna dreamed of prophecy, the world burned. Robert's rebellion raged. The Targaryen dynasty fell. Elia and her children were slaughtered. And when Rhaegar rode north to fight Robert, he died with Lyanna's name on his lips, unaware she was dying in childbirth, cradling the son he would never see. Two lovers bound by destiny, two deaths written by prophecy, and one child born to fulfill it or to suffer for it. The price of destiny. The story of Azor Ahai tells of a hero who forged a sword to save the world, a blade tempered through 3 failed trials. The first time, he quenched the steel in water, and it shattered. The second time, in the heart of a lion, and it broke again. The third time, he drove it through the heart of the woman he loved, and the sword burned with her life. That was Lightbringer, and that story might have been Rhaegar's. The first trial, Rhaegar believed he himself was Azor Ahai. He trained, he fought, he died in the waters of the Trident. The second, he believed his son Aegon was the promised prince, and Aegon died at the hands of the Lion of Lannister. The third, he turned to Lyanna, his beloved, and through her death brought forth Jon Snow, the child who might truly save the world. Each failure, each death, forged the next. Each life lost gave shape to the weapon the world would one day need. Maybe Rhaegar saw it coming. Maybe he knew what his choices would cost. That's why he sang of sorrow, why he carried that look of doom in his eyes. He wasn't a man chasing glory. He was a man walking willingly into the fire. And if Jon Snow truly is the Lightbringer, the sword in the darkness, then Rhaegar was the hand that forged him. Not a prince who saved the world, but the man who died so someone else could. Legacy of a fallen dragon. In the end, Rhaegar Targaryen left behind no throne, no songs, no glory, only echoes and a child. His death ended a dynasty. His love ended a war. His son may end the darkness itself. Rhaegar was born in fire, lived in prophecy, and died in a river of blood. He dreamed of heroes and saviors, of dragons reborn and kingdoms redeemed. But the world he left behind was ash and ghosts. Still, his legacy endures. In Jon Snow, the son who carries his blood, and in Daenerys, the daughter who carries his dream. Both are heirs to his vision, and both walk the same knife's edge between mercy and madness, hope and ruin. Because prophecy doesn't care about love, and destiny always demands a price. Was Rhaegar a savior who saw too far ahead, or a fool who mistook destruction for destiny? Did he light the way for the dawn, or set the world ablaze in trying? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, for in the end, the song of ice and fire was never about heroes or crowns. It was about what people are willing to lose for the world they believe in. And the Silver Prince, the last dragon of his line, lost everything. But maybe that's what it takes to forge the dawn.